Let's look into some fun facts related to the Arctic and Antarctic. See, we will start with the North Pole. We will look at some contradictory claims and all, but we will look into what is important to remember and what is not that important. But we still need to be aware that these things happened. Starting with the North Pole. The first expedition specifically to reach the North Pole was led by British Admiral William Edward Parry in the year 1827. So, attempts to reach the North Pole started quite early, and the first known expeditions which set out to reach specifically the North Pole was led by a British admiral, but that was not successful. The first person to claim reaching the North Pole was Frederick Albert Cook in the year 1908. He was an American. He claimed to reach the North Pole. So, but what happened? He was unable to provide any navigational records of his achievement, and the claims remain controversial. So, you need to know that Frederick Cook claimed to reach. That is what you need to remember. But more than that, what is important is the first expedition that set out, and then Robert Peary. A year later, 1909, Robert Peary, American, who claimed to reach the North Pole. This is the most widely accepted claim, but this is also controversial. Now, the first verified expedition to the North Pole happened by Roald Amundsen, who was a Norwegian explorer in the year 1926. Now, what happened? He flew over the North Pole on the airship Norge. That is the image that you see in the screen in front of you. He flew over the North Pole on the airship Norge on his route from the Norwegian Arctic to the US state of Alaska. So while going from Norwegian Arctic to US state of Alaska, he flew over the North Pole. Now, the same person, Roald Amundsen, also was the first person to reach the South Pole. That happened 2 years later in 1911. So, this is also extremely important. Now, in addition to this, you need to look at the first Indians to reach both Antarctica and Arctic. The first Indian to reach Antarctica was Lieutenant Ramcharan. That is this person in the photo. It happened in the year 1960. He was an Indian Navy meteorologist and he accompanied an Australian Antarctic expedition. That is how he reached the Antarctic. Now, the first Indian to reach the Arctic is Ajit Bajaj. That is the person that you see over here. He is the first Indian to ski to the North Pole, and he skied to the North Pole. And he's the first Indian to complete not just a visit to the North Pole, but a polar trilogy, which entails skiing to the North Pole, South Pole, and across the Greenland ice cap. So, this is very, very important. Over here, you find that he is being awarded the Padma Shri by the president. That's it.